Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We're excited about today's webinar. We're going to talk about data acquisition to populate your directory website. It should be a great webinar, a lot of great content today. Um, with us today, we have Gabriel, our marketing specialist, and Larissa, our marketing manager. Hi, guys.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Hi there. Hello, everybody.
Great, fantastic. And just some logistics before we get started. We do these webinars every 2 weeks. On the 14th of May, we're going to have a webinar about agency services, boosting revenue for online directories. And on May 28th, leveraging AI and SEO for content marketing for online directories. Should be very good webinars. You can join those by registering at eDirectory.com/webinars. And one more piece of logistics, if you have any questions or comments during the webinar, feel free to just put them in the chat and we will stop periodically, as well as at the end of the webinar, we'll have time to answer questions about this subject or anything else you'd like to ask. So for today's webinar on data acquisition, we're going to talk about where to find data, how to find it, a little bit about some AI tools, how to estimate the niche sizes, the goals for your data. We're going to have a demo of a couple tools. Gabriel's going to give us a demo and also talk a little bit about the safe and ethical practices, with copyright and stuff like that. So great, let's just jump in here. First, data acquisition matters. It's important, obviously, and then just a couple items specifically. The first thing is great content is the key to building your audience. You can't start with an empty directory and hope people just sign up and add listings. You really have to have the directory, great off the bat, so that people can use it to make a purchase decision. Commodity content is everywhere. You can find a business name online. There's a lot of ways to search for it. What differentiates your site and what makes it a destination, as well as people who want to sponsor it, is the quality. The quality and depth of the data, also the curation. Curation is the things you may not include. What your directory focuses on, the tone of voice, the personality. All of these things are essential. Your site should be sort of, almost a piece of entertainment for people. And really to know if you're there or not, you need to just ask yourself a question. Is the guide useful for making a purchase decision? Even if you're not selling anything, is it good for making a decision for a decision maker? Are they going to want to use your site, go there, check the options and then contact those different listings for that? One comment now just on AI and online directories. Obviously, there's been a lot of advancement recently over the last couple of years and even this year, especially with regards to AI. And some people have even come and asked me, is there even a reason to create a guide site and build this brand? And the answer is, emphatically yes, perhaps more than ever. Just because the basic information is becoming commoditized, but what you're able to do is really add some depth to it. And also AIs are sort of they're a discovery interface. They're built, similar to a search engine. They're built by scraping websites and putting that data together. And so, your site provides value to these sponsors by, providing those comparisons for that. And these sites will send visitors, these AI agents will send visitors to you to get the deals featured on your sites, to read your interesting content, to enjoy the curation. Really, the way to think about it is AI is sort of like the new Google. Instead of people just going to Google, now they're going to AI. They originally didn't have all the web built out into it, but now these AI engines, they're often showing links and, they're going to send visitors to sites. So it is, it certainly is in this era, very important still. And we are actually building a bunch of AI things we're going to have coming out in the coming weeks and months to really help you take advantage of that and use these AI tools and really build a great system that really helps people using AI. So anyway, don't feel discouraged. Don't think about giving up. It's really interesting times in technology, and really it's about, do you own the core quality content with that? And then one other thing is the hard things that you do. One of the slides I'll have here later is doing hard things is important. You know, working with these businesses to set up deals or taking photographs. You know, AI can make a fake photograph, but they can't take a real photograph. And so you putting together packages to, you know, get this photography done and all those sort of things are potentially a differential for your brand. Great. And so when you're thinking about building your data, the first thing that you want to do is setting a data goal. Sort of understanding what you're trying to accomplish, you know, like anything in business, deciding what you're trying to accomplish, you know, setting the milestones and then going for it. And typically there are two aspects to this. One of them is the breadth goal, which is sort of, you know, do you have every listing in the market segment? Sort of number of total listings is the goal. And then the second goal is the depth goal. For each individual listing, do you go as deep as you possibly can? Do you have every little piece of information that somebody would possibly want to use to make a purchase decision? And then understanding these two goals and, you know, what percentage of your listings have the full depth and all of that is kind of what you want to do. And I realize that when you're getting a new site set up, it's too much to do all at once. So it's a good idea to set a goal for like minimum launch and then continue building goal as you go. You know, so okay, I need to get these categories filled out, this number of listings, etc. And then continue building it. How many more do you want to do a week, or how much depth do you want to add to existing listings? Those kind of things with it. So it's important to set these two goals and think about it systematically. A couple strategies to just make these goals and estimate total number of listings available. You can use Google and a bunch of the other sites out there, Yelp or whatever, depending on your segment, the segment that you're working in, and maybe start with a smaller city, and then or a small part of the area, and then you can extrapolate. So you can say, oh, you know, and you just manually search and see how many results show up in these places for, say, a city of 50,000 people. And then you can just kind of estimate, oh, there's probably going to be more or less that number for the larger, the full audience. And just make a goal, just set a number. It doesn't need to be exact, but it is good to have that goal and understand if you're fully built out or not. Also, you can get a quote from a data vendor, and the data vendor often will have a list. And even if you don't end up buying it, they'll be able to tell you, oh, there are, you know, 200,000 listings in, you know, in this type of an area. So there's lots of ways to do that, but it is important to make an estimate, set a goal for that. So, you know, the basic cycle here is you find you start with a base data set and then you build it out, build on top of it and improve it. And so getting this base data set, there's a lot of ways to do it. There's a bunch of commercial data vendors out there. So a big one is it used to be called Info USA. I think now it's called Data Axle. And you can go there and they sell lists by category. They're used for marketing. Dun& Bradstreet's another one. There's a bunch of newer ones as well that you can use. And you can obviously search on Google as well just to find data vendors. Search data vendor for whatever list and you'll find this info. It's really easy to find. And in addition to that, there are public databases. These are things like government registrations. I don't know how you get access to it, but I know we've had people in the medical, you know, doing medical type directories, and there's some central database of all the doctors that are registered based on their doctor registration number, and there's some way to get a copy of that. Same thing probably with other fields that have some type of registration. Also, there are, you know, you can make a partnership with different trade associations or chambers of commerce that already have a data list. Often they're very open to this type of partnership because you're providing a key function for their membership in terms of, you know, marketing their members. So they're often really happy to work with you. Some may even pay a sponsorship, but it's great to reach out and figure out what you can do. as far as that goes. And then another way to get started is scraping internet sources, and we'll talk a little bit more about this. There are some tools there. That you can use to scrape data. You just need to be careful to not scrape things that are copyrighted. And I'm not a lawyer, can't give any type of legal advice or anything like that. But typically, and it varies by jurisdiction in the US, and we have a lot of customers overseas as well. But for the scraping, typically you can get the business name and the address and the core contact info. That is not copyrightable. But other things like the descriptions and the photos potentially are. But anyway, there's tools out there to do that. And many businesses, if they have their own website, they're okay with, often are okay with you posting, some of the blippets of, the images and stuff from their own website, just because they want to promote their business. They want to be everywhere they possibly can on the internet. So, often it's okay to, grab some images here and there for that. That's what Google does, and Google image search. And essentially, you're sort of a niche search site. So anyway, and you can estimate the cost. There's a bunch of different pricing models. You can go to these sites and see they're pricing all over the map, from, pennies to more expensive for listings that are more verified if they put more time into them. Doing that. Some of the factors, are the database size. Bigger databases are typically cheaper on a per listing basis. Also, different industries may be more expensive than others, and geographical scope. And also, when you're making your budget, don't forget about the labor costs that you're going to have to put in if you hire a team to augment the data and work on the data and that type of thing. And there's some services out there to do that and scale. So you build the list, you get your initial list, and then the next thing to probably do is look at customizing the fields in the list and sort of adding more information to it, and thinking about what else you can possibly add to it. If you have a restaurant, obviously there's very basic info, name and address, but also it can go much, much deeper. How many tables do they have? Who's the chef? Obviously stuff about cuisine types, different menus, all sorts of different data, depending on the type of listing it is. The more info you get is typically better. If you're able to figure out, the history and all sorts of, how long it's been open, all these things. These are really helpful for people to get a sense of what's going on there. So, and then you can use AI tools. There's a bunch of great AI tools out there now that can help with writing, actually writing like listing descriptions and other things like that. And also with data cleanup. So they can help you go through lists, and you can upload spreadsheets into many of these tools. Do aggregation, and then just be really careful there, because some of these AI tools will just kind of pump out stuff that nobody wants to read. And it's just kind of, mindless, a mindless type of description. So it really, but they are pretty good in some cases these days. So you can experiment with it. Just make sure you've tested it enough and really understand what's going on. Um, and then you can also write custom descriptions and category names using, the personality of the site, for that, what you're focusing on. Add photos and video. And as you're doing this cycle, you can export, improve, import. And that's basically it. So eDirectory has an export feature where you can export listings by category and that type of thing. And then you can work on them in a spreadsheet or some other format, and then re-upload them in scale to do that. Or you can use the web interface as well. And just one more thing is going deep is better than going too thin and broad. Don't spread the peanut butter too thin, is the old saying. So what you want to do is go category by category and make sure you have really great data that's enough where somebody can use that information in that category to make a purchase decision. If somebody's looking for an accountant using your directory, they're going to want to see a lot of accountants there in the area they're in. So category by category, and then market by market. the accountant is probably going to, if they're looking for an accountant, they probably want one local, and they're probably not looking for a lawyer. So it's instead of having one accountant and then in one city and then a lawyer in another city, it's really good to go really deep into that category of accountants, fill that out for city by city, and move through like that. And the depth is what ensures that the guide is useful for making these purchase decisions. And one other thing, and this is really important. This is probably the most important thing that I'm gonna mention today as far as data goes. It is do hard things. You need to have things that are going to differentiate your site and your content. And these are things like, sending out a photographer or asking the owner for these photos that nobody else will have. You can reach out to them and say, hey, do you have a couple photos? Can you send us? Or offer them a photographer. This can be a paid service. We recommend bundling that in with a listing or a sponsorship. To do that as you build out and as you try to sell, just kind of this process can kind of go together. And you don't need to, you can make a partnership with an agency. There's lots of ways to get all this stuff done. Be creative. Also, testimonial videos, product videos, they work great. This is a big differentiator. The AI tools, they don't have these kind of, personal videos and things like that. And so that's why people are going to want to come to your site instead of just asking, Chat GPT, that kind of thing. They're going to really want to understand the listings. Also, custom content, all of that writing, the descriptions, and also the articles and the blogs and whatever else you have on the site. Make sure that it has a voice and some personality. It can be serious or it can be lighthearted. However you want to do it is great, but it should be pretty consistent. And just remember, you want to keep people entertained. Even if it's a very serious site, there's a way to write to keep, some gripping, where people are going to focus on it and read through it and really value it. Um, and the curation is extraordinarily important. It's often what's not included. Your recommendations is essentially what's happening there, what's in the site. So you don't want to have everything. You really want to understand what you're going to be good at and do really well at and focus on that. And then this difficulty level, the harder it is for you to put it together, this is probably, your big moat there in terms of somebody just not coming in and dealing with that. So do these hard things, put the work in. You can do it in scale by outsourcing it to crowdsource, services, lots of different options like that to do it, but it is worth making that investment. Just real quickly, and again, I'm not a lawyer. We can't give any legal advice or anything like that. But legal ethical considerations in terms of respecting the terms of service. Some of these data vendors sell the data with some restrictions on it. Those kind of things. Check or credit the source if you're posting snippets or other things. You can put a link into it. If you prefer buying or partnering, if scraping is not allowed, depending on what you're looking at or what you're doing. And then in Europe, there is the GDPR privacy concerns to think about when just around the user data and all of that stuff. One other thing I wanted to mention here, and we don't have a slide for this, but this is just, we often get some concern people have about, oh, what if somebody else scrapes my site, and how to deal with that and all of that. And we can probably talk more about this at the end if people have questions. The answer on that is it's on the internet. So no matter what you do, people can find a way to sort of scrape it and do all that. They're not going to copy your site just entirely. And if they do, they're probably, it isn't going to help. They aren't going to be such a competitor. I hear a lot of concern about that, but often it's your brand and you're able to update the listings and all of this data and all the other things that you do. There's a business there. It isn't just, hey, I have this content. And then also there are legal things that you can do to contact the hosting providers if somebody is pirating your content, and do a takedown notice. And most of the major services, they'll all abide by those, the Millennium Digital Copyright Act requests and stuff like that. So there are ways to protect it legally, whatever else. My advice typically is don't worry about it too much. We hear people trying to really, really restrict it and often it's not worth it just because you're going to block out legitimate users somehow or make it more difficult for them. So it's better just to run faster, keep providing new info, really make what you're doing interesting to people and keep going. And you'll find that people go there because of the brand. So now just a couple scraping tools again, to respect the terms of service and all of that. And Gabriel here is going to give a demo of one, I think, in a second. But these tools are great for finding sort of the base data. Then you can use the AI tools and things like that in your own writing to build out more info, and then you can reach out to businesses to get custom photos or get them involved with the site as well, as how this typically works. Just a couple names here, and you can of course search with Google to find more. There's a lot of different options out there. Octoparse, no code scraping, ParseHub, Apify has some pre-built actors for scraping, Instant Data Scraper, browser extension. Best practices: scrape public permitted data, avoid copyrighted or proprietary data, and just do it slowly enough where you don't disrupt servers. And I think some of these tools have some limiting, so they don't go out and pull everything down immediately. Like kind of crunches through, goes over time with that. But a lot of people are using these tools to kind of get things started and then use their own work to really build out a great database. And also there's some AI tools for data acquisition, which are interesting. Browse AI, Diffbot, Zeit. There's more coming up every day as far as that goes. And Gabriel's going to talk a little bit about that as well. And then also remember to use AI for cleanup. There's a bunch of these different AIs. You can often upload a CSV or a spreadsheet, and they'll adjust it or help you work with it. One other thing is built into these spreadsheet tools now. There's, often they're Copilot, and they're starting to have AI features in there where it helps you do some of these features. But the major AIs for writing and cleanup and that kind of thing, Google Gemini, ChatGPT, Grok from X.com or Twitter. Perplexity sort of, I think it's built on Claude. It's sort of a web browser merge AI engine there. And if you need a couple listings, it's good for helping you get that going. And of course, Excel sheets, Google Sheets, and Excel for working on stuff as you go there. Okay. And then just some key takeaways, and I'll turn it over to Gabriel. Yeah, start small, pick a segment or a region, aggregate and improve different data sources, to really get some good quality content there. Budget realistically, understand how much time, it's a time budget and a money budget, and understand how much time you're going to need. Put the work in because best content at the end of the day is what wins. And I think everybody, when they visit a site or a guide, they understand, hey, this is really helpful for me. So I think with that, I will, before we open up to questions, I'll turn it over to Gabriel, who has a hands-on example.
Yes, thanks, James. Okay, everybody. So this is a quick demonstration. I chose the Browse AI, which is something that you can use on a browser. You don't have to download an app or anything. So just go to browseai.com, and this is once you do your registering. I'm using the free versions just for demonstration and how it works. So in my case here, I decided that I would like to try and get listings from opentable.com, which is a directory for to book restaurants and anywhere in the US. So I went there, and I went to New York City, and let's say I want get these listings here for my directory. So how would I combine the Browse AI together with these listings from OpenTable? So I have here, yes, I have 217 restaurants, 8 pages of content here. What I'm gonna do is I will go back and start. For example, I will get extract structured data, which is what we want. For example, because a directory works like that, I can upload or import a structured data file in a CSV file, like an Excel format, and then a directory will match the fields for name, for opening hours, for address, email, and it will combine and consolidate that result and give me back like in a listening format. Okay, so I will click here. and it will ask for the origin URL. So I will go ahead and copy this URL from the website that I want to scrape, paste it here, and start training robot. So I will use this tool right here because I'm not using the Chrome extension. So let's use the Robot Studio. And what it will do is it will open like a mini version of a browser here, showing me the page that I am looking for, which is the Open Table results page here. So it's very user-friendly as well. And if you go, so yes, so this is the page that I'm looking for. Okay. So if you see here, you will get on the right, you will see the robot here. You will get some tips on what to do. So what I want is to capture text. So I will go ahead and click here and it will give me the instructions for next step. So you can capture from a list or just text. In this case, I want from a list. So I just click here as well. And it will ask me to hover over the page. Oh, and you see that it's already captured what I'm asking, what I'm looking for. So I will go ahead and click the list. And the robot will start extracting information. You can follow the progress bar here. Almost finishing. Yes. So as you can see, I have like a list, like a spreadsheet of the name of the restaurant, rating, price range, etc. All the information here. Of course, some of the fields will not be available for, I have the URL, the review URL, but I mean, I have mostly everything that I need here. And then you can ask, for example, this, I can select how many rows extracted that I want. For example, every 10 rows, it will consume 1 credit. So that's for the charging on the platform. Or I can, for example, take 100. So each 10 will consume 1 credit. Let's get just 10 here. And click Save Captured List. And what it will ask me is if I wanted to go and capture all 8 pages that I have. So I have like 8 pages in total of content. I have to explain to the robot what is the next page. It already identified the button here. I can just click and it will address me to the next page. And this is the simple process that we have to follow. For example, I will click finish here. It will save my search. And it will give me a result. I can name this, for example, New York City restaurants. Hit save. And it just created this file for me. I can go ahead and download. And there, right below this, you can check the 10 listings that I asked the AI to capture. If I click here on the link, it will open so I can double check. Well, let me go back here and I can also download it as a CSV file which is perfect to import on eDirectory. I will go ahead and save it. And if I open the file, New York City restaurants, let's see if I can show you the results. And you can see the spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's a spreadsheet, so you may not be able
to
see that on the screen share.
So I have the 10 listings here with the name, with the URL, with the results, with some other information here. But of course, it will not capture the images that you have to do yourself. But I mean, I could do this for like...
Gabriel, and just the other thing to mention, everybody, is that typically the name and address date is okay, but some of the other information is copyrighted, and so you got to be a little bit careful about just reposting content from somebody else. You have to build your own content, your differentiated content. So, but it's fantastic. Yeah, great way to get things started.
So, and yeah, that's pretty much how it works.
Yeah, fantastic. And then one other thing I just want to mention is often these scraping tools, the format of the websites and other things is changing. And so sometimes like don't expect it to just go very super smoothly. You might have to try it a couple times and tweak it a little bit. And then you know you'll get what you want at the end of the day, but put some work into getting that moving. Okay, great. Yeah, fantastic. Is that should we turn it over to questions now at this point?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic, guys. Yeah, so I'll open up to questions. If anybody has any questions, just drop them into the chat here about this topic or anything else. Question from Charlene. Hi, Charlene. Is there a fee to use AI on the eDirectory platform? So we don't charge anything for it. We have an integration with the ChatGPT API, and so you have to get an account with ChatGPT. That does require a credit card to put in there, but it's very, very inexpensive unless you're doing a lot of flow through. So you're probably not even us testing it. It's testing everything with scale. We were spending like cents or a couple dollars. It was very affordable to use that. In the future, we're going to have multiple models available. So you will be able to work with ChatGPT and hopefully all the other major ones, switching those depending. And I think most of the APIs do intend to charge some money, but I think it's like they charge by token, and it's like, millions, you get millions of tokens for very, very inexpensive amounts. So, great. Next question from Rhonda. You're describing a lot of footwork. Is AI going to get the easy stuff where we have to pound the pavement? Yeah, and then I have all the businesses available. I had 500 receive an email, 85 unique opens, 44 click-throughs, and nobody claimed a free listing. This is disappointing. What you need to do, you need to realize that just marketing in general, it isn't going to be you're going to get like a 50% rate. It's probably going to be a very small number. And also you need to hit people over time. It isn't just one email and they're going to sign up and claim a listing. Also, there are a lot of great techniques to get people to claim listings. One of them is just, hey, verify your data and make sure everything is correct here. And you send that out, and then they'll somehow get involved. If they're able to see reviews or other things that you're sending out to them, doing all this stuff, there's different techniques you can use to get people engaged with it. But yeah, there is some work to it. That's the business. But it is successful. It does work, and these sites do bring in traffic. Great. Question from John. I thought you can only add data when the directory is brand new. Oh, no, absolutely not. You can always use the import function, so you can keep importing new data. Also, if you export and re-import and it has a listing ID, it will match it up with the listing and update it instead. So yeah, you can always use the export import feature for that. Next question from Jim. I have operated a eDirectory for many years. My traffic reports show many more views than is shown by Google traffic. I asked about this and it was bots or search engines. I can't report properly to my clients as this data is overstated. Yeah, so this is the problem that we have is Google has their own algorithm for deciding when to count traffic. They exclude some traffic in their analytics reports because it's bot traffic and whatever else. And we have our own list that we exclude, and we do our best to make those match. But at the end of the day, we do the best we can, but there's obviously some automated traffic that slips through, and the traffic reports end up a little bit higher. I think what you can do is there's a lot of things depending on who you're talking to and about what. One thing you can do actually is get the traffic report out of Google Analytics and then use those as part of your sales pitch for that. Or you could potentially tell people, hey, there is some automated traffic in here, and we do our best to reduce it, but Google shows a slightly different number. We looked at working on that like a lot, and it's just kind of a difficult problem in that we don't have access to Google's algorithm or how they do it or what they decide to block. And so getting those two consistent is sometimes a little bit difficult for that. So, but often when you're selling the directory listing, often if you just, tell people, hey, here's what the site has, and then if you're generating some real leads for them, showing some value, they'll be happy to order a sponsorship with you. Next question from Kurt. How would you convert the Browse AI CSV to be compatible for eDirectory CSV template? So eDirectory, yeah, we have a CSV template for import. That it's basically the ordering of the columns, right? So the first column is the name, then the address and whatever, and then that order. And so but eDirectory also has a thing when you're importing now. This is a feature that came out a few versions ago, so it's been around a while, but you can, when you're actually importing, you can sort of match or map the columns to the eDirectory column when you're importing. So you can either do it before, open the CSV, and then move those columns around to match eDirectory format, or as you're importing, you can go in and select columns through there for that. If you have trouble with that, you can contact our support team and we'll be able to help you out. And we certainly have videos on our support knowledge base about that. Around a little. The web is full of dead listings. Even in my city, restaurants are lasting less than 2 years, but they're still up and out there. That is one value of doing your own work. Yes, absolutely. So historically, I think I remember seeing a stat a number of years ago that a typical business moves every 5 years. So that means every single year, 20% of what's out there is going to be old or updated or whatever. So it is good to keep, working on that as part of your sales process for that. And that is a lot of the value, a lot of the curation and, cutting things out there as well. Can the traffic to the listing be visible like Facebook has likes? Yes, so potentially we could customize it and put those out. That isn't something we had out of the box. Part of that is just some of that stuff around the difference between Google traffic and whatever else with it. Talk to our account management team if you wanna see about doing that. We can note your name here and see what's involved in displaying that stat about the traffic. All right. Let's see. Charlene posted a tip in terms of getting owners to claim listings. Found that posting news article promoting a list of X companies in the area. Yes, absolutely. That works really, really well. That shows diamond listings first and then encourages other companies in the field to claim and upgrade for free. That works really, really great. Also doing things like doing awards by category that works really well. Do an annual award show and those kind of things. Whole bunch of different marketing techniques you can do to get people involved with the site. Just be creative and go at it. And I think you'll find it does work. And these sites actually do generate traffic and they do provide results for people. So great. Yeah, I think that's it for the questions. I don't know if anybody has any last questions. Gabriel, Larissa, do you guys have anything else to add here at this point? No?
No.
Here we go. Charlene's still getting the bots on the sponsor accounts. There's an eDirectory owner has a gate that requires sponsors to be approved before they can create a listing or an article. Can you please consider this for all of us? I think we have a moderation option on there, actually. So I think that may be a setting, Charlene, if you're still getting the bots in there. So we'll check on that for you. And if you can note that, Larissa, we'll follow up with Charlene just on figuring out how to enable the moderation before the listings go live.
Yes, sure.
Okay, great. Let's see. We got one more question came in from John. How many listings should we have loaded prior to launch? It really decides. We have people doing million listing databases, and we have people doing 10,000, and people doing 1,000. We have people doing 500 listing sites that are really niche. Really, what it's about is that question of is the content going to be useful to a visitor, a reader? Is a reader going to enjoy reading the content that you have and use it to make a purchase decision? I think is the big question there that you need to consider before you're ready to go live. Like you should just be able to look at it and know, hey, the site looks good. There's some real depth to the content, and I think you'll be good. Okay, well, thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks for joining. We have a quick survey after we close out the webinar today, I believe, just to give us some feedback.
Yeah.
We're trying to improve these webinars as we go. And come back in the next couple weeks. And oh, Charlene noted about the chat on the deals section. Yes, absolutely. We'd like to. I'd like to discuss. I'll send you an email and we can set up a Zoom call later in the week, early next week at your convenience for that. The deals are coupons. These are becoming a bigger part of things as as AI's out there. These deals are often driving traffic and driving real people into stores. So and we're looking at a lot of things, involving QR codes and all sorts of stuff related to that. So, yeah, so great. Thanks a lot, everybody. And yeah, keep coming back. We'll have another webinar in 2 weeks, and then a lot of great stuff is happening. We have a bunch of these AR features and other stuff. We're working hard all day, night long, trying to get everything out for you. So, thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.